I think this is going to challenge the bell even more than it normally does, but we'll do our very best. Now, I don't know whether I'm allowed to call it a boycott or not, but trainers deciding not to declare in one of the races at Southwell today meant that the race had to be cancelled. No one will notice the difference because they still start at 2:07. There are still 7 races. They divided one. They did, however, very nearly lose a second race. So trainers will not tell you that this is organised action because they're worried about getting sued. But Richard Hannon, let's just say what it is.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. It's people don't want to run because the prize money's rubbish, and it's had an effect. Has it had enough of an effect to make any difference?
Yeah, I think it's a shame that on Easter weekend, when the owners are having to pay double time for the staff being away from home, and they are not remunerated with the prize money, I think that should be looked into, and I don't think that's right.
So I would say, well, look what we did on Good Friday. We put on hundreds of thousands at Newcastle. We can't be putting hundreds of thousands on for Class 6 horses as well.
Well, they need to put some over for these Sunday meetings because it's costing double bubble to the owners and they need to be remunerated in the prize money. It doesn't matter what happened a week ago.
Is it the Trojan horse effect, Hughesy, that you think people are cross about? You promise Sunday racing on one premise and then you turn up and actually you're running for a couple of grand?
Yeah, in the early days they said, oh, there'd be loads of prize money on a Sunday, and it wasn't long before it was nothing. And but as Richard says, the racing expenses alone for the lads expenses on a Sunday could be something like 180 quid.
Yeah.
And then they wanted Sunday evening racing when they're coming home to the yard at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Just overtime all day and most of the night.
Double time and a half.
Rafe Beckett on the show last week, Dave, said that we're boring the public to tears.
With too much racing?
I think I know how you mean. Yeah, yeah, of course. And that was one of the things with the Sunday nights. Like, don't get me wrong, I completely sympathise with staff who have got families who are coming home after midnight. I think that's wrong. But also there is viewer fatigue to think of, right? If you follow football over Christmas, there'll be a game on every night, and you think, well, it's Southampton versus Everton. No, I'm going to do something else tonight. I'm not going to... I watched Arsenal Man United. I watched Chelsea Man City. I watched Crystal Palace thrash Brighton. And now I'm going to do something else because it's viewer fatigue. Yeah. I don't want to watch this all the time.
Gorging yourself on too many sweets.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, it's unfortunately the... British racing, because of our financial model, wants to keep churning it out and churning it out. But in terms of viewer interest and punter interest, there's only so much you can...
Except the big betting companies are now saying they don't want all this racing, but the racecourses, of course, do because they are getting paid by the race media rights payments, hence why divisions of low-grade races are always... One final point on this I want to ask you. Whether you want to call this a boycott or not, they've got one race cancelled and one race that was a big field handicap of low-grade horses very nearly cancelled. Yeah. So it seems to me that, organised or not, the trainers are getting their act together in terms of direct action. Do you think... what I'm asking you is it the tip of the iceberg, and do you think now it's a sign that it could actually begin to take root and have real impact?
Yeah, I think it is, and I think it needs to happen because... It's unfair to go racing and have double expenses and it's not represented in the prize money.
OK.
And the racecourses know that. They know when they're putting it on, they know what they have to do.
We're moving on. Do you ever look at a going stick reading?
No.
Do you look at going stick readings, Hughesy?
No.
Right. This week, James Sanderson has conducted or been interviewed is it the Bar Stewards Inquiry podcast interview?
I don't know where it came from. I'm sorry. But
you see the video? You've seen the video of him explaining it?
No, I haven't. I've seen, but I've read the quotes.
You've read the write-up, so that's where.
I'm sorry. I'm not rubbishing other podcasts. I just didn't listen to it there. You know.
But so what's he said?
Well, he said that he adjusts readings, otherwise they would be misleading, and he said that if you asked clerks of the course across Britain whether they did the same, then 50% or more.
So effectively, he makes up.
Yeah, he massages the figures. Yeah. Now, Paul Johnson of the NTF...
You're laughing, Richard, and it is kind of, if it kind of wasn't serious, it would be funny.
But that's why you don't read them or listen to them. It's just, you've got to... I would always go on what the going report says, wouldn't you?
With a pinch of salt.
But the interesting thing is, right, so Paul Johnson of the NTF said this will be a cause of great concern, and Sean Trivas of the Horse Race Bettors Forum said there is a lack of trust in the going stick. Now, a couple of things with this. First of all...
I trust it.
I'm astonished that James Sanderson admitted to doing that, because... in our professional lives, there are times when we all have to take shortcuts.
Is this his Gerald Ratner moment?
Yeah, we don't want people to look behind the curtain and say, actually, I did those tips in 20 minutes. And like you say, you have a skimful, you ride a load of winners, you do your tips in 20 minutes and loads of them win. That's just how the world works. But with this, Sean Trivas makes a very good point. Like, if the clerks of the course don't trust the going stick... Like, we've all grown up with, like, it's good to soft, good in places, and we think, oh, come on, you know. So we want this standard thing, say, never mind your good to soft, heavy in places. It says 5.8, and that's what it was. That's what it is. Now, if people, even the people using the stick, if they don't believe in it, then surely, as Sean Trivas suggests, we've got to look at this and say, right, what are we going to do? Because we either believe in it or we don't. And... another problem?
I get why you're...
See, one of the problems...
Well, you either get rid of it or you use it or you trust it and you use it properly and build up... There is data. You can go for each course... No two courses are the same, necessarily. But you can compare Catterick Monday to Catterick next Tuesday.
You can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's true. But also, in terms of across the board, the point you made then is really salient. But I was talking to someone who went to one of those posh agricultural colleges that trainers send their sons to when they can't get more than 2 O-levels. But we'll leave that for one moment. And he said, what you don't understand, because you lived in a city like all your life until you moved out a couple of years...
Until you get on your bike and go down to...
Is that soil here has a different makeup to soil there, and so...
But, you know, if you have a reasonable build-up of what 6.4 means at York, and you say that 6.4 means good at York, and that's what your data tells you over a period of 12 years, you know that 5.8 is the easy side, even if the clerk tells you it's good.
Back it or sack it. That's the tabloid message.
I say back it myself. You say sack it.
I think there should be an independent person going to the tracks,
with his
giving their opinion, not the clerk of the course.
So the BHA course inspector...
They should have one.
Is the actual...
I think the ground is good. He thinks it's soft. I think it's good.
And there's no financial... The boss of the track's not leaning on you to say...
Yeah, but even the clerk of the course is under pressure from probably someone above him. Don't be calling it heavy. They'll pull them all out.
Yeah.
Yes, the issue of best interest, which, of course, is why you've got a stick in the first place, because you're trying to replace, you know, vested human interests with technology, which apparently we don't trust. Anyway, on we go. The breeze up sales. Well, I think I've seen it all now. I was standing with you, wasn't I, as the was it the 1.4 million acclamation went in, and you said the Full Brothers rated, what was it,
60 or something.
60 odd. Yeah. And then there was a 1.75 million with no black type in the first
the only black type on the page was his lot number, wasn't it? That's what I thought when I saw it.
Unbelievable stuff.
On the flip side of that coin, of course, people will say, well, hang on a minute, he's already beaten a field of 180 horses, so must be all right. What did you make of it all?
There's no race over 5 furlongs or over 2 furlongs.
Yeah, the fastest horse is not always the best horse, is it? It's how long they can do it for, how they do it, what they do after. You know, I just think the whole timing thing, there's too much emphasis put on that.
Have you not had some good results using the clockers?
Yes, Paco Boy came from a breeze up. So did Prolific. I mean, so did Maymas.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't personally look for the ones that do the fastest times, because it's not really an indication of their
ability, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an indication of their speed. You know, it's not an indication of how they move, and what their ability might be. I would rather see them walking up.
This was the 1.4 million acclamation out of Blue Willow. Acclamation, same sire as Maymas, of course, and left a significant impact on the breed. No longer with us. Willie Brown consigned this one. and Malcolm Bastard can sign the 1.75 million by Havana Grey. I suppose the more interesting bit was the Ammo Racing again versus Anthony Stroud buying on behalf of Godolphin. Godolphin going for these kind of unfashionably bred horses.
Yeah, but they've native trail. They got him out of this sale, so it's probably a lucky sale for them, and probably Anthony Stroud was told to try and go and buy the
trail
best.
by?
Oasis Dream.
Oasis Dream. Norman had him, Norman Williamson.
Yeah.
But probably he's told to go and try and buy the best horse there.
Yeah.
He's probably picked his best horse and start bidding on it.
What did you make of Ammo continuing to drive on?
Yeah, I mean, he said that this was what he was going to do, and he's good to his word, isn't he? I mean, clever bastard is what I would say about the Havana Grey.
I like that. Little ripper.
The sauna. Have a cream egg.
Yeah.
The saunas debate has reared its head again. Michael Caulfield, who is a sports psychologist of note, has been on this programme, used to run what was then the Jockeys Association, now the PJA, many years ago, and has taken a keen interest in the well-being of riders ever since, and has been sports psychologist to many of them. The final line of his quote in the piece in the Racing Post was the most important one, David.
Yeah,
he said...
It was quite interesting because the headline saunas obviously was in the headline, but it was only mentioned in the last couple of paragraphs of quotes when Michael Caulfield said the reason exercise on a bike next to the urinals, that really good picture in the Post, is because, or the reason jockeys exercise on a bike next to the urinals is because there was a decision to remove the saunas. They were taken away with the best intentions, but it's created a situation where people have to manage their weight on a daily basis in a very different way.
There is no one who's going to be able to talk better than you on this.
Not me.
And funnily enough, earlier in the week, somebody said to me that the reason the bike was in the loo was because the jockeys wanted it near the steam from the showers to create a kind of steamy atmosphere.
Yeah, and the washing machines would be warmer.
Yeah,
in there,
so they could bike in the hottest possible environment.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, whichever way you slice it, it's a pretty ghastly state of affairs, isn't it?
I never ran when I was riding. Maybe in the early days, but certainly the last 20 years, no exercise. I wanted to save all my energy. And if I only had a pound to lose, I wouldn't do it in the morning. I'd get to the track and do it. So half an hour, lose my pound, go and weigh out. And I was dehydrated for probably 40 minutes. What to have to do now is unbearable. There's nothing worse. Most days I'd lose 3 pounds at home. Or even some days I'd say, well, I'll only lose 2. And I don't have light till the last race. I'm not in the 4th race. I'll take my pound off then. And you had managed it and you've done really well, but being dehydrated all day is a nightmare.
See, the top line argument, especially during COVID, was what kind of sport lets its professional athletes go into a sauna and waste to manage their weight before they go out and ride. But of course, what that reckoned without, and as I've suddenly come to realise, is the alternative is about 15 times worse.
It's a game. If you raise the bottom weight to 11 stone, you'll have 12 stone lads trying to do 11 stone. It'll keep going up. It does you no harm. It's bonkers. Every sport has a sacrifice, and whether that be you have to lose a few pounds and ride dehydrated, there's nothing wrong with you. You're grand. Maybe that's a bit old-fashioned, but if I rode rehydrated, I wouldn't have rode ever.
Just one further thing on this, Dave, and you'll have spotted this. Dr. Jerry Hill, when he announced that he was retiring, I asked him about the saunas, and he left the door, I thought, half ajar for the debate to be reignited.
Yeah.
I didn't feel he didn't say, well, we've done this has been a great achievement, saunas are done, and that's the end of that, move on, grow up.
Yeah, I mean, well, I hope it is personally. I don't like telling professional and successful, in most cases, sports practitioners how they should prepare. I think that should be left to the individual. And also, I wonder if there is, for example, a way whereby it's possible to weigh a jockey and, prevent what they would see as dangerous weight loss. So, if you want to shave off half a pound or a pound or whatever, then, yeah, that's fine. Go in and have a. If it were weight loss, I'm sorry, mate, that is injurious to your health. Then it's something that, as I say, I don't like that thing about you can only ride at one meeting a day. Well, I've got one ride here, and I can ride somewhere else.
So can't it be a case-by-case basis?
And you're stopping me. I think that's restraint of trade. And I think there is a third way with this, whereby if you're really trying to prevent the sort of what you see as dangerous, egregious cases of weight loss, it's possible to do that.
Yeah, but in any sport, you have camaraderie among the weigh room, or I'm sure it's in any football team. Or if we see a young fella that's lost £2 and he can't stand up and he looks weak, you've had enough, son, or you tell the valet, look after that young lad, don't let him go in there anymore. And you police it amongst yourselves. Yeah. The same as if a footballer was doing something sillier. So let people make a decision, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? We're not aegis. If you see a young fella in trouble or he can't do the weight, you've had enough out there, get out of there. And they're not going to disrespect you. They'll say, OK, I'm sorry. And they won't lose any more. Do a pound overweight, you'll be all right.
But you've got to, you even would accept that whilst you might be able to look after each other 90%
you do. Yeah, do you have a valet
you need regulation. You still need regulation, whether you want saunas there or not.
People know what they're putting their body through. Will you let them out? They're professional athletes. I'm sure you know what limits you can go to. You know what I mean? It's just...
Right.
Something that won't affect me or you anyway, Nick.
You're spot on.
Richard was in the sauna once.
Oh,
I'll tell you this story. This is a good one.
I want to hear it.
I'll make you look.
Go on.
You'd be funny.
He decides to come into the sauna in Goodwood.
I was an amateur jockey, an amateur.
Oh, this is when you were riding?
Yeah, brilliant amateur. And he came into the sauna with his boots and breeches on and stood there. Wanted to lose
I was 17, and when you're 17, you only sweat up here, don't you? Yeah.
You were in full...
Well, Marcus Armitage and Mark Perrin, and then they say, OK, which one do you ride? I said, number one, Dream Carrier. I was always number one because it was top weight.
And then he was that dehydrated, he forgot to take the blind off it.
Oh, I love it.
So you went fully closed into
I'm not coming on here again with him, OK?
It's the only thing I can slag him, his riding career.
Yeah. And he was lucky I was no good at it, or else he'd have been
no
fucking out.
How many winners did you ride?
None.
How many?
None.
Oh, so I thought you had ridden a few.
None.
Hence, he didn't give instructions.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. I'm not
were you riding at the same time as Charlie Hills?
Charlie, I think...
That coaster is...
Yeah, she got actually
proving very problematic.
Ways on Easter Sunday.
Knows when to stop.
Should we talk about Qatar Racing and the split with Andrew Balding?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've decided to go their separate ways. And Lisa Balding, when asked at Newcastle earlier in the week, said that they had some differences of opinion and they felt it was better that they moved on. So it seems a mutual decision rather than owner taking horses away. Sounds like they've said, right, we can't agree fundamentally on philosophy.
I don't think it's anything... I don't think there's any badness there. There's just a difference of opinions and they're going their separate ways and that's life. Move on. They won't be the first ones to do this and they certainly aren't the last. So, you know, it's I'm not saying it's commonplace, but I mean, difference of opinion, fine. I
suppose you've got owner who likes to have a view on where horses run.
Yes.
And particularly has horses trained in 2 continents and therefore 3 continents and sometimes likes them to go
And don't forget, Sheikh Fahad is now based primarily over there as well. So he probably wants to see a bit more of them over there and, you know, for whatever reason, doesn't suit Andrew and that's his prerogative.
And Andrew's standing now.
I mean, yeah, it's not...
He's training for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, he's going extremely well, a very good trainer, and Sheikh Fahad will get what he wants, and that, you know, that's not a bad thing. Everybody move on and make themselves happy.
How much do you mind... Well, actually, this is something we're going to talk about through the next talking point as well. I know something that Dave wanted to bring up. How much do you mind when an owner says, I want to run here, can you take it to France, Germany,
Personally,
Italy, Spain,
you know,
America,
as
Australia?
As a trainer, you know, you're part of the workforce, you're an employee, and if they say do something, you do it. To a point.
Where does the point? That's it.
I think, and I think this is one of the areas where Andrew lives with the horse. He knows what he thinks is best for the horse, and that's what he's sticking by. And you know, you have to do what you're told, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's right by the horse. And if you voice your opinion over that, and the owner doesn't like it, then you have to deal with that yourselves. And if the best decision is to go your separate ways, then that's probably is the best decision.
Are you someone who temperamentally would acquiesce quite a bit? Would you be reasonably bendable?
Yeah, malleable. Yeah, I would be. It depends how it was said. If it was please on the end of it, fine.
Yeah.
You know.
And have you ever said to an owner...
I'll send you another 2, Richard, as well after this. You're fine.
Have you ever said to an owner, well, we're not going to see eye to eye, bring the horse box and take them away?
No, I said to somebody one day that if they thought somebody else could make the horse run faster than they can, let me know who it is, and I will drive the horse there personally myself, because I want it to run faster. And they didn't take it, and that's the only time I really encouraged something like that.
I suppose other things to consider here, Dave. The Sheikh Fahad's contributed an awful lot to British racing beyond owning horses. So you'd want to hope that that is sustained.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, when...
Although I'm led to believe that that is not compromised.
No, but Kipco have scaled down their sponsorship in the last 12 months anyway, haven't they? One thing I was quite surprised about with this was when that news broke, like in headline form, my boss texted me and said, you want to keep an eye on that, that's broken for Saturday's pull-out. And then the second text said, there are 6 horses. And I thought, oh, Andrew Balding, what, and Qatar Racing, like Cameco, Elm Park, New Century, all these, you know, must be quite a few horses. And when it was just half a dozen, I thought, oh, that's, you know, but like Andrew Balding, without, for want of a more delicate phrase, he's got bigger fish to fry these days, hasn't he? He's like, he's one of Juddmont's golden boys now. He doesn't, you know, like, let's be honest about it. We've talked about the politics and stuff like this.
In terms of the
really
mutual
difficult owner who has
the scales have done that.
If you've got, and this is the same with any of us, so I'm not picking on trainers. If someone said to me that, like, the best jobs to be sacked from are the ones that don't pay you. Like, I used to do Talk Sport at 6 in the morning and didn't get paid a penny for it, and then one day they said, right, we don't want you anymore. I was like, that suits me just fine. You know, I mean, the point about the trainer thing, we'll come on to this now, is that you're not packing frozen chickens. With greatest respect to people who are, you know, there isn't an emotional, long-term
These are 2 sides of the same coin. So we can run the clock on the next one, which is the fact that Wimbledon Hawkeye, after he finished placed in the Craven Stakes, immediately after James Owen suggested D Stakes Derby. Now, and I think Tim Gredley and his family are very much behind this, they want to have a crack at the Guineas, and then they think, right, well then Dante Derby. He said Roaring Lion did it. Why can't we? Craven, Guineas, Dante Derby. So interesting
that the Gredleys, they write the manual, don't they, about the owner says about he who pays the piper. You know, I think a lot of people felt a lot of people felt sympathy with James Fanshawe about Ambiente Friendly moving, horse who was second in the Derby and then didn't win again. Interestingly enough, with the Gredleys, one of the 2 horses in that 0 to 80 handicap at Southwell was Kate O'Reilly, who is trained by Michael Bell and owned by the Gredley family.
They were quite happy to.
So they would have.
I was going. You want to say cross the picket line, but don't want to.
Well, no, they might have said to Mike Bell, like, no, we want to run there, and if he says I'm going to get a call from Rafe Beckett, they'll say whoever,
or Richard Hannon.
Yeah, okay, anyone.
Yeah.
Well, mate, do you want to train the horse or don't you?
Yeah.
So, but that you know, there's, look, you put.
That's unfortunate, but you do.
You lie awake at night thinking, how the hell can we get the best out of that horse? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing different? What can we do differently? People with quote unquote normal jobs, packing frozen chickens, they don't lie awake at night thinking, how can I put that into that plastic bag better? You just don't. So when an owner asserts his legal right to do whatever he wants with his property,
you've brought a whole new meaning. But
it's a nuanced line, isn't it?
To have cohesiveness with your fellow trainers, I think, is pretty important. And I don't really like it. You know, if somebody is saying, I don't care about your cohesiveness with your counterparts, do what I say. I find that is slightly crossing the line in terms of...
I agree with you, but then what if that guy or woman
takes his horse away?
But they own like masses in the stable, and we've got this 2-year-old that we think might be the Derby winner. Then you're in a tricky one, aren't you?
Right. A tricky one. If it's a Derby winner, fine, say, no problem.
There we are.
But they're not Derby winners most of the time.
And that's it in a nutshell. Frankie Dettori is one of the featured professionals in the new Netflix documentary that is about to be released. It's on general release April the 22nd.
Yes, Race for the Crown.
Yeah.
Made by Box to Box. I'm reading this.
I have to declare the interest here.
Right.
I have contributed to Race for the Crown.
Yeah. They did
if
Drive
it's
to
as good
Survive,
as the trailer looks, it'll be good.
Full Swing, and Tour de France Unchanged. It's a 6-parter tracing the journey from the 2023 Breeders' Cup to the Triple Crown of 2024. I'm sure your trailer was a lot better than mine.
The trailer's good. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't. No,
it's excellent. No. It's all over social media now. And
to be honest, they're not really. I've got no time for those things. I just don't watch them.
I like them.
I
to Survive and those I thought were brilliant.
If you know them, if you know Frankie, I imagine that would be a good show.
I think you're going to... I don't know. I hope you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Having spent a bit of time with the production team, having made a small contribution to it, I think they've got a better nose for a story than you would think. But particularly some of the more contrasting characters in the sport and some of the conflicts within it. Okay. I think they picked up on the edge between Mike Rapoli and Jon Stewart, for instance, and they really went with that. Good. And of course, in America, you've got, as you know, you've got people who'll play.
Yeah.
It's not like here where they're all going to say it to your face, and then when the cameras are rolling, you've said this to me.
Yeah, it is. My problem with these things, and I said it before when we were in the green room as such, was that if someone filmed me,
green room,
if someone filmed me, all the time, they'd see me like hurling my phone into the sort of mattress, and my wife like you're like a 2-year-old. What on earth is wrong with you? And swearing and all the rest of it. And then I might offer a tramp outside Sainsbury's. Do you want the basic cheese sandwich, mate? And I'd say, that bit when you filmed me hurling the phone into the bed. Any chance we could just put the bit when I bought that tramper sandwich? Can we put that in? Because otherwise, come on, all that stuff gets editorialised. I mean,
but if it's not sugar-coated, I think there is a place.
If Tour de France Unchained if that really was warts and all,
I think Drive to Survive, you see loads of loggerheads, and it's good.
I didn't get into that, really.
Oh, that's very good.
But a lot of people did.
A lot of people that had no interest in motorsport love it now.
What did you think of Champions Full Gallop on a British horse racing?
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was okay, but it was just... I thought it was like Channel 4 racing with knobs on. No, but I didn't think it was different enough. But then again, we work in horse
traders too.
They're bringing out celebrity traitors.
Are you on it?
No, celebrity traitors.
Oh, okay. Is Frankie on that?
Well, he might be better sticking where he is, I suspect. Anyway, he is one of the people involved in the new Netflix documentary series, Race for the Crown, which will be available to view from April the 22nd. Those were this week's talking points. Long but worthwhile, I think you'll agree.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.